Most people believe that eating fruit is always healthy. They've been told since childhood to eat more bananas, snack on grapes, or add mango to their smoothies. And while fruits can offer fiber, vitamins, and hydration, there's a darker side, especially for people over 40 or 60 whose bodies don't process sugar the same way. What many don't realize is that several of the most popular fruits are secretly working against your strength, particularly in your legs, where muscle loss, instability, and weakness tend to show up first with age. Now let's look at why this happens. Fruits like bananas, grapes, mangoes, and even dates are loaded with fructose, a type of sugar that, while natural, is still rapidly absorbed by the liver and triggers an insulin response. When you eat high fructose fruits frequently or in large amounts, especially without balancing protein or fat, you cause repeated spikes in insulin. And when insulin rises, the body prioritizes fat storage and inflammation, not muscle repair. This pattern subtly but consistently sabotages your muscular health. And this is not just about gaining fat or feeling bloated. This is about your legs losing power, your quadriceps, hamstrings, calves. They rely on a balance of glycogen, electrolytes, and low inflammation to remain strong. But repeated insulin spikes from high-sugar fruits create a pro-inflammatory environment in your bloodstream. Chronic inflammation has a direct negative effect on muscle protein synthesis, which is the process your body uses to build and maintain muscle fibers. And the first place where weakness becomes visible is your lower body. You start struggling to climb stairs. You feel unstable when you stand from a seated position. You fatigue quickly during simple walks. That's not aging. That's inflammation caused by poor dietary choices, masked as health foods. Another overlooked factor is that fructose doesn't restore muscle glycogen efficiently like glucose does. Glucose is what your body needs after training or movement. But fructose, especially in excess, gets sent straight to the liver where it's either stored as fat or triggers uric acid production. High uric acid levels are linked to joint pain and reduced nitric oxide availability, which is essential for blood flow and muscle oxygenation. Without strong blood flow, your legs receive less oxygen, less nutrient delivery, and less capacity to recover after stress, whether that's walking, exercising, or simply staying upright for long periods. We also have to look at mitochondrial function, the engines inside your muscle cells. These mitochondria are responsible for creating ATP, the energy currency your legs depend on for explosive movement and endurance. But a high fructose diet has been shown in multiple studies to damage mitochondria, making them less efficient at energy production. Over time, that means your leg muscles become more fatigued, recover slower, and lose strength at a cellular level. It's not always about the weight you lift, it's about whether your cells are capable of converting food into strength. For older adults, the risks are even higher. As testosterone and growth hormone naturally decline with age, the body becomes more resistant to building or retaining muscle. If you layer a high fructose diet on top of that, your legs are at even greater risk of sarcopenia, the gradual loss of muscle mass and function. This is one reason why elderly individuals often suffer falls, loss of balance, and fatigue that seem sudden when in reality it's been a slow erosion caused by everyday choices. What's worse is that these fruits often come in healthy forms. Banana smoothies, dried mangoes, grape juice, these are marketed as smart, energizing snacks. But the truth is, they can be quietly draining your muscular potential and accelerating weakness. If you're someone who works out, who walks daily, who's trying to stay active into your later decades, what you put into your body matters just as much as your training. And fruit choices must be strategic, not habitual. Now, this doesn't mean fruit is bad. It means some fruits must be limited or avoided entirely if your goal is leg strength, mobility, and longevity. You can't afford to casually snack on sugar bombs that slowly chip away at your foundation. You need to fuel your legs with what they actually need: stable blood sugar, anti-inflammatory nutrients, and ingredients that support mitochondrial health. Because strong legs mean freedom, independence, and the ability to move through life with confidence. And that starts by recognizing which healthy fruits are doing more harm than good and having the courage to replace them. And it all begins with awareness and making the small, deliberate shift to protect the strength you've built and continue rising day after day. Most people never stop to consider how the acidity of certain fruits affects their body beyond digestion. But what you may not realize is that some of the most commonly consumed fruits, like pineapple, oranges, kiwis, and even certain types of berries, are highly acidic and can gradually disturb the mineral balance that is absolutely essential for maintaining leg strength, coordination, and muscle endurance. This isn't just a nutritional detail, it's a performance and longevity issue, especially for those over 50 who already face natural declines in muscle tone and energy output. Let's break this down. Your muscles don't move just because you tell them to. They move because of a precise electrical signal sent from your nervous system to the muscle fibers, and that signal requires electrolytes to function properly. Two of the most critical minerals in this process are magnesium and calcium. Magnesium helps relax the muscle after contraction, and calcium helps initiate that contraction. Together, they create the rhythm and power your legs depend on to walk, lift, balance, and move with strength and coordination. Now here's where acidic fruits come into play. When consumed in excess or without proper mineral balance in the rest of the diet, acidic fruits like pineapple, citrus, and even green apples can contribute to a low-grade acid load in the body. While your body works hard to maintain pH balance in the blood, it often has to buffer this acidity by pulling alkaline minerals like calcium and magnesium from storage, including your bones and soft tissues. That means over time, your muscle cells are working with less available fuel to fire properly. And for the average adult, this translates into weaker muscle contractions, longer recovery times, and an increased risk of cramps, twitching, or even injuries, especially in the legs, which carry the weight of your daily life. You may not feel it immediately, but the signs are there. Legs that fatigue after simple chores, muscle stiffness that wasn't there a year ago, a loss of agility when rising from a chair. These aren't just normal signs of aging. Often they're symptoms of electrolyte and mineral depletion that's been accumulating silently, partly fueled by choices that seem healthy on the surface. It gets more complicated when you realize how these fruits are marketed. Packed with vitamin C, supports immunity. Yes, they do offer benefits, but context matters. If your overall diet lacks diversity, if you're not getting enough potassium, calcium, or magnesium from leafy greens, nuts, seeds, or mineral-rich water, and if you're frequently snacking on acidic fruits, your body is operating on a deficit, and deficits lead to breakdowns. Beyond the electrolyte impact, acid-forming fruits can also interfere with muscle repair and protein metabolism. When the body is more acidic, enzymes that break down and rebuild muscle tissue work less efficiently. This means that after a walk, workout, or even a minor strain, your leg muscles may not recover as well. The inflammation sticks around longer. The soreness is deeper, and the repair process slows, causing small weaknesses that accumulate over time. Another concern is how these fruits interact with kidney health. The kidneys are responsible for filtering excess acid and maintaining mineral balance. But as we age, kidney function naturally declines. If we continue to overload them with acid-forming foods, thinking we're being healthy, we increase the burden. The result is even less mineral retention, more muscle fatigue, and for some, leg weakness that becomes a serious mobility issue. You need to understand that not all fruit is created equal when it comes to maintaining muscle health. And it's not about fear, it's about making informed swaps. Instead of acidic fruits like pineapple or oranges, consider berries like blueberries or blackberries, which are lower in sugar, less acidic, and rich in antioxidants that actually support muscle recovery. Instead of fruit juices that strip away fiber and concentrate acidity, Choose whole fruits in moderation, balanced with healthy fats and proteins that slow digestion and reduce the acid load. When you make these changes, the results may seem subtle at first, but over weeks and months, your legs will start to feel more solid, your endurance will improve, your balance will return. You'll move with more control and confidence. And that's the ultimate goal, not just to eat healthy, but to eat intelligently, in a way that supports your body's performance, especially where it matters most, your legs. The body isn't just what you put into it, it's what it can absorb, utilize, and recover from. And when you choose the wrong fruits, even with the right intentions, you may unknowingly be robbing your legs of the minerals and energy they need to keep you strong, mobile, and independent. So the next time you reach for that bright, juicy fruit, ask yourself, is this fueling my strength or quietly draining it? For decades, people have praised dried fruits as a healthy snack, easy to carry, sweet, and full of fiber. But the truth is, dried fruits like raisins, dates, apricots, and figs can be one of the most misleading health foods out there, especially for men and women over 50 who are concerned about maintaining leg strength and mobility. What seems like an innocent handful of dried fruit could, in reality, be setting you up for blood sugar spikes, muscle fatigue, joint inflammation, and even long-term neuromuscular imbalances that weaken the legs with time. Let's start with one of the most fundamental issues, sugar concentration. When fruit is dried, all the water is removed, but the sugar remains and becomes far more concentrated per bite. A single date contains more than 16 grams of sugar, and a small handful of raisins packs more sugar than a chocolate chip cookie. This sugar, primarily fructose and glucose, enters the bloodstream rapidly and triggers a spike in insulin, followed by an inevitable crash. And it's during these crashes that your body feels fatigued, unsteady, and slow, particularly in your lower extremities. Your leg muscles are incredibly glucose sensitive. They require a steady, balanced fuel source, not sugar floods, followed by famine. When you constantly spike your blood sugar, insulin becomes less responsive over time. This condition, known as insulin resistance, doesn't just affect weight or energy levels. It directly impairs glucose uptake in the muscles, especially in large muscle groups like the thighs and calves. Over time, this leads to weaker contractions, slower reflexes, and a diminished ability to recover after physical effort. Another layer to this problem is glycation, a process in which excess sugar binds to proteins in the body, including those in muscle fibers and connective tissue. Glycation stiffens those proteins, making muscles less elastic, more injury-prone, and less responsive. This is particularly harmful for the legs, where joint mobility and muscular flexibility are essential for safe movement. Walking, bending, climbing stairs, all of these motions depend on supple, responsive muscle tissue, but a diet high in dried fruits contributes to a process that makes these tissues stiffer and less functional. And it's not just about muscle. Let's talk inflammation. One of the key silent destroyers of leg health, dried fruits, particularly those that are processed or preserved with sulfites, can be highly inflammatory. Chronic low-grade inflammation interferes with mitochondrial function, the part of your cells responsible for energy production. If your leg muscles can't generate ATP efficiently, you feel it as heaviness, stiffness, or slow recovery after basic tasks. Climbing a flight of stairs feels like a workout. Walking a few blocks becomes tiring. This is not just getting older, this is a nutrition-driven performance decline. Most people also overlook the caloric density of dried fruit. It's easy to consume hundreds of calories in a single sitting without feeling full. This leads to a subtle but persistent caloric surplus, especially dangerous for those who are already struggling to maintain lean muscle and avoid excess fat gain. And when the legs carry extra body fat, especially around the thighs or hips, it further restricts mobility and increases joint pressure, making walking or exercise even more difficult. Now let's talk about mineral imbalance, a hidden side effect of dried fruit overconsumption. Many dried fruits are high in potassium, which is beneficial in moderation, but when consumed in excess without enough sodium, magnesium, or calcium, it can create electrolyte disruptions. These disruptions show up as leg cramps, twitching, weakness, or poor balance. And for older adults, these symptoms can be dangerous, increasing the risk of falls and injury. You might say, but I only eat a small amount. That might be true, but the cumulative effect matters. One small handful here, a few pieces after dinner there, it adds up. And when these foods replace more muscle-supportive snacks like hard-boiled eggs, nuts, or low-glycemic fruits, your body misses out on the essential nutrients that your legs truly need to thrive. So if you've been consuming dried fruits, thinking they're supporting your health, you're not alone. The marketing is clever, and the message is everywhere. Natural sugar, high fiber, great for snacking, but when it comes to preserving leg strength, balance, and mobility well into your 60s, 70s, and beyond, it's time to rethink what you're putting in your body. Because strength isn't just built in the gym, it's built in the kitchen with every bite you choose. And the wrong snacks, even the ones labeled healthy, might be quietly pulling your legs out from under you. One of the most surprising dangers to leg strength lies in the fruits we often associate with breakfast and smoothies, bananas. Yes, bananas are a rich source of potassium, and yes, they are convenient, but for men and women over 50 who are trying to maintain or rebuild leg strength, particularly in the face of natural muscle loss and joint sensitivity, bananas might not be the innocent option we've long believed. In fact, they could be one of the fruits quietly working against your strength and mobility. Let's look beyond the surface. Bananas have a high glycemic load, meaning they convert quickly into sugar once consumed. That rapid conversion causes a quick spike in blood sugar, followed by a sharp drop. For someone who already struggles with blood sugar regulation, something that becomes more common with age, this leads to energy instability, often felt in the legs first. You may have noticed it yourself: fatigue after eating, feeling sluggish during a walk, or an odd sensation of weakness in your calves or thighs. This isn't coincidence, it's your body struggling to regulate the fuel it's being given. But it's not just about the sugar spike. Bananas are high in fructose, a type of sugar that bypasses regular metabolism and goes straight to the liver. The liver has to work harder to process it, and over time, this can lead to fat accumulation and metabolic slowdowns. When your metabolism slows, your ability to burn fat and build or retain lean muscle diminishes. Your legs, the largest muscle group in your body, are affected first. You may find you're losing strength even though you're walking every day or exercising regularly. Without the right fuel, muscle maintenance becomes inefficient. Another often overlooked effect of bananas is their impact on gut health. While they do contain fiber, they also contain fermentable carbohydrates, known as FODMAPs. For people with sensitive digestive systems, again more common as we age, this can lead to bloating, gas, and discomfort, which in turn affects posture, energy, and how freely we move. When your stomach feels bloated, your gait changes, your back tightens, and your leg muscles engage differently, often with more strain. Over time, this compensatory movement leads to wear and tear in the hips, knees, and ankles, diminishing strength and increasing discomfort. Let's also talk about dopamine, the feel-good neurotransmitter. Bananas contain precursors to dopamine, but ironically, because they also spike blood sugar and insulin, they may lead to dopamine crashes shortly after consumption. Why does this matter? Because motivation and energy are deeply tied to dopamine. If your mental energy is low, your physical energy follows. And the legs are where we feel this drop first. Our steps feel heavier, movements more sluggish, and workouts less effective. The over-reliance on bananas as a post-workout snack or morning staple creates a cycle that often leaves people in a foggy, low-energy state, despite believing they're making a healthy choice. The marketing around bananas has trained us to associate them with athletes and high performance, but the context matters. For someone younger with high activity levels and insulin sensitivity, a banana might be fine. But for older adults facing sarcopenia, the age-related decline in muscle mass, it can be a metabolic misstep. Then there's the issue of nutrient imbalance. Bananas are low in important amino acids, essential for muscle repair. They don't provide the complete nutritional profile needed to rebuild torn muscle fibers, especially in the legs, which are constantly in use. And when people rely on bananas instead of a protein-rich or mineral-dense snack, they miss out on the very tools their bodies need to stay strong. The end result? A steady, subtle erosion of leg strength masked under the guise of a healthy diet. You may feel slower getting out of a chair. You might notice your stride isn't as long or powerful. You feel tightness in your calves or weakness in your quads after light activity. These are signs not of aging alone, but of a body being misfed, even with the best of intentions. So while bananas aren't inherently evil, they are not the ideal choice for older adults focused on preserving mobility, balance, and leg strength. It's time to swap that banana for something more metabolically stable, perhaps a boiled egg, a handful of almonds, or a slice of avocado. Because every food you eat is either building your strength or quietly stealing it. The choice is yours, and it starts with knowledge like this.